because now that your new unit is already on a new IP address, so your laptop cannot detect your Tessera Forte unit. And that is where you then have to go into the control panel, change your IP settings again, your laptop network card, change it to the correct IP address, same as the Tessera Forte, then you can detect it. Okay? For now, I won't change the IP address, so I'll just cancel this. Okay. If you are going to interface it with any Crestron or Extron control panel, typically you want to enable Telnet and enable SSH. Okay? So that you allow the Tessera Forte device to talk to other
Crestron.
communication.
Is there any driver from the Crestron?
Yes, I think for Crestron, Bi-Amp and Crestron, there are some drivers or modules, control modules. I think you can download it off Crestron's website. Bi-Amp, we don't keep the Crestron modules.
Okay.
You want to put it, I put a loudspeaker here, then you can lean your phone.
No need, bro.
Host table device description, those are host table I don't really use. Device description is just changing the name of the device. Basically what will show on the front over here. Okay. Port settings is to set your serial port, whether you're gonna, so because we only got one RS-232 port, so you'll detect one, and you can determine how you
This is the controller?
Yes, this is for RS-232. So
Crestron?
Yeah, if you're gonna use RS-232 to connect to Crestron, yeah, then you can decide whether you want it by Tessera text protocol.
What is the default? Default?
Default?
None.
Default is a TTP command string.
TPP do mean your network lah.
Yeah, it's our Bi-Amp text protocol. So Bi-Amp Tessera text protocol. So the Tessera text protocol meaning we have like a way of how we send the commands within Tessera itself.
Use the IP or?
No. How to say? Syntax, like instance text. So if like let's say you want to recall presets, then it will be like device 01 recall preset whatsoever. Then the preset ID, for example. Okay. And your baud rate, typically I think this one is the one that you set similar to the Crestron.
If I want to set like controlling with Crestron with IP address, how do I do it?
Crestron IP address, then you just don't use serial. So basically because your Tessera Forte, because the control port is already connected to like a network switch, so your Crestron you just
from there it's straight away. Okay.
So I think it's just
so no need to only the port need to set when there's a serial.
Yeah, then you don't need to set this. So the next one is of course update firmware. So update firmware is where you need to update it to whether our latest firmware or you want to roll back to the firmware. Usually it's updating to a newer one. So update firmware is just you select. So let's say I have it over here under downloads. Then I have some firmware. So once you just open, it will prompt a new table and it will ask you which devices you want to update to. Okay.
Then I just want to ask if the server has been delivered. Is it updated the firmware already?
Yes, it's updated to the latest one already.
Okay.
So reboot device is basically just sending a command to reset the whole device, reboot it. Locate devices. So if you have, let's say, multiple Tessera Forte and you want to know which particular one you're looking for, you can just go to locate devices and you can just, like, for example, I click on locate, you'll see the front panel all blinking, and that's when you know that is someone you're looking for. Likewise, let's say for the table mic, so if I locate, then you'll see the table mic, the LED blinking. So whenever you have any faults, you will see that the status of the Tessera server will appear red, and basically when you click on faults, it will tell you which device is or what the fault is. So in this case, I already have a file inside this Tessera fault tape, and there is a device that is missing. Where I left it at home. So right now, since the system is online, it's not able to detect. It will just give me a fault that this M is not available. Alright. Then retrieve event logs now. Retrieve event log is typically when you encounter a fault with the Tessera system, and if you log a case with our support at Bi-Amp1.com, they will typically ask for the events log so that they can check what is wrong with the system itself, whether it is a faulty communication or hardware that's not registering, for example, a recall preset. Okay. Then remote devices are basically devices or expanders. So I have here the microphone and the USB expander over here. Okay.
How do you detect this using the?
So it detects using AVD. So Tessera primarily runs on AVD. So by a cat cable, I connect it to my Tessera Connect.
Even no need to configure.
Need to configure.
Oh,
so
need to configure.
Later I'll run through all the
Okay.
configuration steps. Okay. So that's it for the device maintenance. For now, I am going to clear the configuration so that we can just start on the new one, and then I'll show you how to upload and how to send a configuration.